Yes, the coaches are still the problem. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. It's a nice day outside, not too bad here in the middle of November. It is the 16th of November here in 2020. As always, joined alongside Gavin Tony. It is 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I apologize for the tone a minute ago, but it's going to get worse, so stay tuned. First of all, Gavin, I know it wasn't the best end of our Sunday because apparently 2 weeks of a bye are not enough to be able to beat a team that is 2-7. 2-7. Now they're 3-7 thanks to the Philadelphia Eagles. But before we get into that, let's start with some happy things. Gavin, first of all, how are you? Outside of your PS5 fiasco, outside of the Eagles and the Penn State shortcomings, how are you doing?
Walmart, listen, me and Walmart, we're still not friends today. All right. And shout out to the dude on Twitter that they were that PS5s are back in stock. That's lied or not. All right. I just sat in a virtual line for 20 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, to find one. All right, but enough about that. I'm just gonna get mine on Black Friday, just like everybody else will, most likely.
You should get a discount on it, and so I'm looking forward to hearing about that. We're gonna have to play on it at some point.
I'm gonna get the new golf game. I'm gonna get the golf game. I'm gonna have to bring you over, and we're going to play play golf on next gen. But when it comes to sports, Zach, Penn State's a disappointment, right? And the Eagles. Let's get into that too. But how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Dustin Johnson, big win yesterday. Congratulations to him. He was one of my picks, him, Justin Thomas. Unfortunately, Bryson DeChambeau just fell off. Tiger Woods had a fair week. He was not doing as well this year, but he looked pretty good for good first round. Unfortunately, a fascinating 10 on a par 3. And just for those watching, I've never done that. Of course, I'm nowhere near Tiger Woods' skill level. I've probably should have gotten 10 before, but everybody's human, even the GOAT Tiger Woods. So look, April of next year, the Masters are back. It's going to feel like just tomorrow, and we're getting some sandwiches for the Masters Champions dinner next year. So congratulations to Dustin Johnson. I'd like to go into more detail with it, but given that we do have limited time, we're not going to be able to. But again, Dustin Johnson, big nod to you. Congratulations on your first ever Masters win and green jacket.
Real quick, yeah, congratulations to Dustin Johnson and Zach. Yesterday, as a big Tiger Woods fan, my heart was hurting. He hit the water not once, not twice, but he did a splash, Zach.
I do have to say I have some experience with that. I think I can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, but Zach, it hurt my heart to see that. Tiger, he had a chance, but hey, he put the jacket on Dustin Johnson, so that was just a real moment right there.
The tradition continues. No matter how crazy this year has been, no matter what has happened so far, that tradition continues for those in the golf world. It's a great thing to see. So with that being said, again, we'll cover that later in the week as we try to get some longer shows in, but let's get started with it. Viewer discretion is advised. While we will probably not use profanity because we don't want to, make sure your volume just in case you're anywhere where if it gets loud, it's going to be pretty bad. But what was that? What did we just see yesterday? Because first of all, we go into the same loop every single year since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And newsflash, fellas, just because you won a Super Bowl way back when doesn't make it an excuse for you to play terrible now. Okay? And there's some guys here that still were part of that team. I want to make a few things very clear. First of all, in 2018, any of this Carson Wentz versus Nick Foles BS has been completely put to rest last year. But I will make something pretty clear. The Eagles struggled the year after the Super Bowl. Bad coaching, bad play calling. They ran the ball 5 times the game against Dallas before Carson Wentz went down with an apparent back injury, when in reality, he was just rushed back from injury for no reason because Nick Foles was playing good enough to win some games. He's had a bad defensive game against that Buccaneers team in week 2. All right, that's first thing. Second thing is, yeah, Nick Foles came in later in the year, but they ran the ball. The statistics of when they run the ball more than 25 times, it works. The screens, the creativity. Where is it went? Same thing last year. You go up against some of these teams. You beat Washington week 1 the year before. You lose to Atlanta the next week. All of a sudden, your wide receivers get hurt. Carson Wentz is out there fighting for his life because no one's out there helping him. The only times this team wins is when their quarterback bails them out. And I'll say it, Nick Foles fit here just as well as Carson Wentz has. All right? Both of them equally have bailed out Doug Peterson. Okay? Doug Peterson is making terrible play calls, terrible decisions. Carson Wentz threw the ball 17 times in the first half, Gavin. All 17 of them were in the pocket. All right? This is the best quarterback, according to Pro Football Focus, outside of the pocket, making the most accurate throws possible. You have a guy, number 26 out of Penn State, in Miles Sanders, who's averaging 6+ yards a carry this year. And you have the audacity to ignore him in the second half. All right? He had some big runs. Boston Scott, huge run for a touchdown. And here's another thing I want to bring up too. Gavin, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. Carson Wentz is being too risky. Carson Wentz is not willing to give up on a play. Why can't Carson Wentz just be a regular old quarterback? He was yesterday. Okay? Did you like that? He didn't do anything spectacular, but he sure as hell didn't turn the ball over. He made a few bad throws, but everybody does that. He actually had a few really good throws where he threw across his body to Richard Rodgers for 40-some yards. That's a hell of a throw that no one's giving him credit for. You know what that shows me? It shows me that this coach is not prepared to lead this team to success. If Carson Wentz has to be above average every single week, he's going to get burned out. He's going to get hurt again, and this team's going to be doomed for disaster the same way they've been in the past. All right? And look at a guy like Russell Wilson. He's burned out now. And he has great wide receivers, but he's got a bad O-line, a bad defense. Okay, and he's got Pete Carroll calling plays. He's getting burned out. He went from the best MVP candidate to maybe top 5, top 10. He's looking terrible right now out there.
I don't know about that.
We'll get to that in a minute. I know that's a little bit of a contested topic. But unless Carson Wentz is doing magical things, this team can't do anything. You have nothing short of talent at the wide receiver position. Travis Fulgham had a bad game, but he's a pretty damn good wide receiver, if you ask me. Where was Alshon Jeffrey yesterday? Why are you not getting him involved? He's been out for a year. Put the damn kid in and let him play. He's already chirped about Carson Wentz in the past. What happened to him looking so good, looking so great? Dallas Goedert, where's he been? Richard Rodgers was the most effective guy. You finally had a healthy scratch in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Jalen Reagor kind of looked good yesterday, Gavin. I know that we're still not so sold on him, but Reagor had himself a fine game. But look at this team. The bad play calling on the offensive side of the ball. Jason Kelce had a couple horrible, horrible executions and a couple horrible bad penalties. Doug Peterson came out this morning 90-for-1 saying the execution was bad. No, your play calling is horrible. Your inability to balance, your inability to develop tempo is terrible. How many more years is this guy going to have to be able to do this? This year, he made a decision by firing his offensive coordinator, by putting all the heat under him. And guess what? The heat is there. You are the one.
It's hot. It's hot, Zach. It's hot. It's hot.
Finally, and before I let you go, Gavin, finally, how about the other side of the ball? Imagine having a top 5 corner in Pro Football Focus and making him play soft zone. How many times do we have to teach you a lesson, Jim Schwartz? It doesn't work. That's not how you do it. He's playing 15 yards off. They need 5 yards. And what do? They run a 3-yard dig, and they make a man miss. Why is Roby Coleman here? He's doing terrible. Crevon LeBlanc should be getting that time in the slot. The linebackers are pretty good. TJ Edwards and one of the other guys was out there yesterday combining for 28 tackles. That's pretty damn good. But you're making your corners play terrible. This defense is not good. This offense is not good. This coaching staff is terrible. And if you have the audacity, anybody, to sit here today and say, oh, we should put Jalen Hurts in. Yeah, I'm sure Jalen Hurts. How's Jalen Hurts doing? You run the same damn play with him, and I feel bad for him. He's a great kid. He has good talent. But you run the same damn play with them, and they stuff them every time. Oh, maybe the Giants' defense is good. They're the 26th ranked defense in the league. What does that mean? This team is terrible. This team's a disgrace to this city. They're a disgrace to the NFL. And to have the audacity to sit here every year, everybody says, oh, maybe it's Carson Wentz's fault. And then when Carson Wentz does well at the end of the year, well, maybe he's fine. The play calling gets better. Why is the play calling so drastically inconsistent? The inability to adapt in game, the inability to make the right plays is horrible. It's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment. And the fact that we have green behind our background today makes me sick.
Well, first of all, you called them a disgrace to the city. I still think it's a team across the street in the Philadelphia Phillies, but that's for another day, all right, Zach? We're not going to get into that. Zach, today I emphasize what you always say. Run the damn ball. Look what they got our high school team. Shout out to them, even though they lost this past weekend, but they did well. Deshaun Jacobs ran the ball effectively, right? Zach, what does running the ball get you? Look at Lamar Jackson last year. They look great this year. They're struggling this year. Running the football works. Zach, you give the ball to Miles Sanders 15 times, 85 yards, 5.7 yards per carry. 5.7 yards. He didn't get in the end zone, but it's cool.
He had a single play where he had negative yards. He had one where he was dead in the backfield, and he was able to get back to the line of scrimmage and picked up a yard. And Boston Scott was pretty good yesterday, the killer. Where were the screen passes? Was there a screen pass once yesterday, Gavin? That's how it worked last year. Were there any reverses, any level of creativity? You start the game with the smoke screen to Jalen Reagor. That was a pretty good play. And then all of a sudden, no more. All right, that's it. I guess we're not going to do anything else. All right, there's my creativity for the day. I'm done.
It gets better to this. Wait a minute. It gets better because listen to this. And then you bring Jalen Hurts out and you run the same damn thing. It's the same thing every week. We know what is coming. You know, when every time we see Jalen Hurts, we're like, all right, he's either going to the right, going to the left. That's it. Nothing's creative. Look at the Saints. Look at Taysom Hill. They put him all over the place. Hell, Taysom Hill catches the ball from Drew Brees, who I'm not fond of, by the way. He catches the ball, and what does he do? He gets yards. He scores. Jalen Hurts has not done anything. And that's no disrespect to Jalen Hurts because, I'm a Jalen Hurts guy.
The coaching staff, they don't game plan. You had 2 weeks against a team that is terrible, and you play them twice a year. You needed a miracle from Carson Wentz and Boston Scott last time to play them. Damn it. I mean, they should be 0-4 in the past 2 years against this team. Monday Night Football, they should have lost. All right? Thursday Night Football, they should have lost. Last year in Week 17, they should have lost. What's the difference maker? Carson Wentz is spectacular. And yesterday, he wasn't. He was average. He did just what Jared Goff was. The difference, the damn coaching staff is terrible.
Exactly. You know what's fantastic to me? Because I'm a Jim Schwartz hater. You know that. 3 weeks ago, right? Daniel Jones goes for 70 yards, or 80 yards, should have been a touchdown. He did the same thing yesterday and scored. Why does Daniel Jones have 64 rushing yards against you? He averaged 7.1 yards per game. Can we stop the run? Hello? Are we getting ran over? And by the way, going back to the offense, who the hell was that guy that got pushed over easily? All right, you're offensive line, damn it. You shouldn't be doing that. The Giants' defensive line is not that good. They might be. I don't know. Watching the Eagles' offensive line versus them, they look like they're all-stars out here. They're over here comparing Damian Tomlinson, whatever the dude's name is, to Aaron Donald. Yes, a no-name to Grady Jarrett and Aaron Donald. Who the hell is he? I don't know, nor do I care. Now let me stay on the defense, Zach. Daniel Jones runs the same damn play, gets a touchdown, right? Gulliman, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Gulliman, Wayne Gulliman gets an end zone twice. Oh, and by the way, Alfred Morris, who hasn't played in almost 2 years, gets 34 yards off you, but it looks unstoppable. They ran the football, Zach. What they do? They scored off it. They stuck with it. They stuck with the football. They ran the ball over 20 times, just like almost 30. Zach. And then you go to the wide receivers. Darius Slayton had 93 yards on 5 catches, right? This is the reason why we bought Darius Slayton. And no way I'm over here criticizing Darius Slayton. Jim Schwartz, you're
using him. They misuse him.
You're not using him correctly, Zach. And I'm pissed at this defensive front too, right? Now they look good yesterday, all right? They got the Daniel Jones a couple of times. But this
started the game with a sack, and then you give up like a 40-yard catch.
It's like, and then you can't stop the run either. You're getting pushed. By the way, it's like I was watching another game. Forgot what game I was watching. I was watching. After a while, I got tired watching this garbage. So I put something else on. And just watching other teams stop the run effectively and they're missing pieces. Watching Jacksonville stop the run yesterday versus Aaron Rodgers, that was pretty good, right? Jacksonville did a lot of things versus Aaron Rodgers. And Jacksonville's defense, and no discredit to none of those guys on the defense, they're not as good as ours. They look better than we did yesterday. They played a better competition and kept the score relatively close. Zach, what the hell is going on? Why is this team bad? Where's our linebackers? All right. This is what they need to do. They need to clean house, starting from Howie Roseman and going all the way down to Doug Peterson. And the reason why I say Howie Roseman, because damn it, Howie, yesterday you're like an idiot again, because DeAndre Hopkins, Zach, we talked about this.
Him and Diggs played each other. Both free.
Exactly.
Both guys on the great block.
Both quarterbacks that got new wide receivers this offseason, that got new star wide receivers that went for absolutely nothing, are winning records. And by the way, they both came up big when they needed them the most. You could have had one of them. You got nobody. You need to clean house. You need to get rid of everybody. Look at Frank Wright. He won. And he has Phillip Rivers as quarterback. Y'all know how I feel about Phillip Rivers. He's hot and cold.
And Carson Wentz is better than Phillip Rivers. I'll say it. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. I don't care. Nobody's going to argue that.
You can't argue that. You can't. There's no way. Carson Wentz is always going to. Carson Wentz is better than Phillip Rivers. Carson Wentz is way better than Nick Foles.
And Miles Sanders is better than Jordan Wilkins and Naheem Hines. I will say that as well.
Even though Naheem Hines and Marlon Mack, when Marlon Mack is healthy, even though they're a deadly duo, I will say that. But no doubt, Miles Sanders is a top 10 running back in my eyes. When you give him the football, maybe even top 5.
Where are the screen passes? Where are the slants? Where are the quick plays?
Oh, where's John
Hightower all of a sudden out of the line? He runs good slants.
My language, but where's the drag routes? Where is the stuff that Zach?
Get the ball out of your quarterback's hands and let your playmakers do their job. Stop with the dip and dunk BS. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
You went down on a 4th and 10. Zach, I don't get this at all. On a 4th and 10, the only good corner that the Giants have is Bradbury. On a 4th and 10, you're going to throw the ball to Bradbury's side for Jalen Reagor. By the way, the ball was underthrown too. We also put that. Jalen Reagor had to turn around and get it. Why? Why? Why you continue to put your? I swear, Zach, the Eagles are getting to the level where I get just as pissed as I do with the Phillies. And you know how irritated I get with the Phillies.
It's a damn shame they're still in the conversation for playoffs. They don't look like it. They don't deserve it. The coaching changes need to be made. We need to stop
And
dwindling.
you don't even make a trade either, Zach. You don't make a trade for nobody. You don't make a trade.
Jay Ajayi, how'd that work out? It worked pretty good. They got Golden Tate. That worked pretty well. And now all of a sudden, dead silence.
You don't get a middle linebacker or anybody. You need one. You don't get anything.
Could have gotten Patrick Queen in the draft. Could have gotten Zach Bond in the draft instead of Jalen Hurts. A lot of things went wrong with this football team. And they're not even using where are the rookie linebackers? Where's Strong Bradley? He looked pretty good.
Parks yesterday for a hot second. That's it.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely. And they need to put Kevon Wallace in there more. Jalen Mills is done here.
Should have never brought him back. They should have never brought him back.
This team has an emotional connection to players, and it's dangerous. You're getting younger,
this team has
but you need a better coaching staff. Because right now, this isn't going to cut it.
This team needs therapy. That's what they really need. Therapy, damn it. Therapy.
This is a terrible thing that we've had to watch. Coming up after this, we are going to break down around the NFL, starting with the Baltimore Ravens, a team I projected would go 16-0. They might not even make the playoffs at this point, as competitive as the AFC is. We'll cover that.
2-3-0. That's all that matters right now. 2-3-0.
We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewer's choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode.
Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. If you missed it, you can go back about 10-15 minutes and you can watch a little bit of Eagles discussion, but we're going to be moving on now talking about the battle of dual threat quarterbacks. But Gavin, in order to be a dual threat quarterback, you have to be able to throw, right? Lamar Jackson went for 6 yesterday on 15-plus yard passes for an 18-yard touchdown. Lamar Jackson's an MVP. He was an MVP last year. He's a nice kid. He's played well, coming out of Louisville, being the 32nd overall draft pick. But Gavin, before we get to the Ravens, because they've been concerning for a little while, anyone who thinks that Bill Belichick is not the greatest coach of all time still stands incorrected. Gavin, you couldn't even name 3 players on that defense last night. They looked pretty good. You can name maybe 2 or 3 guys on that offense, and they looked pretty good. All right, so never count out the New England Patriots. I'm going to go out on a limb. They're going to make the playoffs. I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I think that they end up this year possibly 10-6. They can afford one more loss. They're 4-5 right now, but they have to turn it around. They have to turn it around fast. But Gavin, what are some of your first reactions overall from that game last night?
Well, last night shows that Lamar Jackson doesn't have a wide receiver at all. All right, you can't throw your, ladies and gentlemen, I said this a lot last year, and I'm gonna say it again. You can't throw the ball to the tight end 100 times. You can't do it. Even though Carson Wentz made it work with Zach Ertz, but they were deep passes. Zach, we know, we're not going to get into that. His best wide receiver some days is Willie Snead. Then some days it's Marquise Brown. Then some days it's some other.
Mark Andrews. Unfortunately, Nick Boyle's scary injury last night. Wishing nothing but the best for him.
Then you got Mark Andrews. I mean, Zach. Then the big success of the run game last year was, one, they had a great offensive line, Marcel Yonda and Staley and Brown and all those guys, Orlando Brown. And then Mark Ingram was also healthy. Mark Ingram finally got back on the field. But I'm not giving up on the Ravens yet. It just goes to show that, hey, this offseason, he needs a number 1 wide receiver. He needs one. Des Bryant's not the answer, all right? You should have got Antonio Brown. Should have did it, but you didn't do it.
So. I think that was one of the top choices, them in Seattle.
Okay, I don't know why the hell. I mean, I know why he went to Tampa, but ring chasing. But Zach, at the end of the storyline for the Ravens this year is no wide receivers. They got wide receivers that are there, but they're no true.
Did they have anything better last year though? I mean,
they had a healthy Mark Ingram and a nice offensive line last year.
So you're not worried about Lamar Jackson right now?
I'm not.
Okay. All right. We'll continue to cover football.
They're still winning games.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a easily top 3 defense in the league. It's going to be an interesting way that it plays out. We know Lamar Jackson's arm has been questionable, but he came out last year. MVP season.
And the loss for Earl Thomas in the secondary might be raising some eyebrows, but
possibly here. Now, we just do have a quick breaking news to point out. James Harden does want to move on from the Rockets and is reportedly trying to force his way to the Brooklyn Nets. An interesting move for James Harden. We don't know how it's going to play out. This storyline has continued to change. I don't really have any sources according to this, but it is the Houston Chronicle is the one that made this report. So considering that it's relatively local to Houston, they might know something. But James Harden 3 days ago reportedly was committed to staying, and now he wants out. And free agency starts in 40 minutes? Is that today or is it tomorrow?
Today.
So it starts in 40 minutes. We have a lot of news coming out as it continues to break. James Harden wanting out of Houston. Gavin, what are some of your initial thoughts after hearing that?
My initial thought, excuse me, is one, there wasn't a surprise. When you've been there, ladies and gentlemen, when you've been in a place for a long time and you come up short every year, and your best year, your best year was when you took Golden State to 7 games and you lost because Chris Paul was down. You haven't beaten Golden State in the playoffs.
They played them every year except for this year.
Exactly.
They have all the years with James Harden there, from what I remember, in the playoffs. They have played the team that went on to win the Western Conference.
They also, in fact, they've been the number 1 seed. So here's another reaction is, damn it, when you hired a black coach too, and Steven Silas, who I'm fond of. You know, Zach, I'm fond of diversity and change and seeing new faces and but it just has to happen when you get him there. They talked about running it back, and the media is trying to make this pivot between him and Russell Westbrook. They're boys. They just probably came to their senses like, this isn't going to this ain't going to work.
Yeah, James Harden wanted out of OKC because he wasn't going to get paid. They wanted to have a friendly cut, and I wants to go play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So now you're looking at a team arguably up in Brooklyn that could look like a starting lineup of Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant. I'm unsure who. I guess Garrett Temple would be at the 4, and at 5 you'll either have DeAndre Jordan or Jared Allen.
I like Jared Allen.
And putting Jordan at the 5. That's a very scary team.
I will say this, Zach. As much as a Sixers fan I am too, and a Steph Curry guy, I would love to see Brooklyn be the powerhouse of the East. It just, think about the history of Brooklyn and the culture around it. Basketball, and you bring arguably the top 10 players, 3 of the top 10 players in the league to that place where they were once considered the underdogs of the city. And the New York Knicks. So I'm not even gonna get in there. They're garbage.
Remember earlier this year, everyone said this is the Clippers city now. How'd that work out?
Well,
just a little flashback for it. But yes,
Paul George hit backboard. That's how that worked out. Zach. Paul George was hitting backboard. Okay.
Yeah, reportedly they want to do a Russell Westbrook, Paul George swap, which would just be a god awful idea for Brooklyn, or not for Brooklyn, for the Clippers.
But the best team to get James Harden would be between the Sixers or in Brooklyn. Brooklyn, you could put a lot of
Milwaukee. Package a few guys, some picks, Giannis and James Harden. Forget about it.
No, I don't think that.
You don't think so? He's one of the best playmakers in the league, and if he doesn't have a shot, Giannis is unstoppable inside.
Yeah, I mean,
think about that. Think about
that. Giannis in Miami
trade. You can package a few guys there, a couple guys on your bench. You'd be giving up a lot for James Harden.
Okay, so Zach, would you rather take?
But they're in a win-now situation in Milwaukee.
Who would you take? So is Brooklyn. Steve Nash. You got to think an offensive-minded person. Zach,
I'd say Brooklyn's
and you got Mike D'Antoni there too. So Zach, would you look at Milwaukee and go, Eric Bledsoe, a few others, or would you look at Brooklyn and go, Dinwiddie, Harris, and who else?
Here's how I'm thinking of it if I'm James Harden. 5 seconds left in the game, down by 2. All 3 of them can take the shot. Go to Milwaukee, down by 2, 5 seconds left. Without a question, a play is made for James Harden.
Well, if you think about
it, if I'm the Beard, something to think about.
Well, if you think about from that way, then it would go Philly, Milwaukee, then Brooklyn. But if you want to do it in a way where you can kind of preserve yourself, like what Jimmy Butler did here, and then turn it up in the playoffs, you would go Brooklyn, Philly, then Milwaukee. Because if you go to Milwaukee, you're going to have to help Giannis out when he gets double teamed. I
just can't see it work. I already right now think it's not going to work in Brooklyn.
It would be nice to see. It would be nice. It's going to be a tough task. I would like to see it. Of course, I want.
Because you need guys that can work inside. You'll start seeing Kevin Durant playing more of a power forward role. I don't think he wants to do that.
I mean, Kevin Durant might be a spot up shooter. We don't know. We haven't seen Kevin. I mean, Kevin apparently from John Wall, Kevin Durant's back to his normal self, the best player in the league, as I like to call him. But Zach, it's also too the reason why Philly and Brooklyn are top destinations. Mike D'Antoni, right, in Brooklyn, they're here. If they have a great relationship, Mike D'Antoni put the ball in James Harden's hand. Daryl Morey was the guy that paid James Harden.
And Brooklyn has the MVP.
If you're the Rockets, you got to think about, all right, Philly has a Shake Milton, a Tobias Harris. You could maybe mess around with, and maybe an Al Horford, right?
There's nothing in Brooklyn they could get unless Brooklyn pulls the Clippers from last year and trades pretty much all of their next future. I mean, that's the question though. I mean, they have some good depth. If Joe Harris comes back and he's on your bench, that'd be a phenomenal piece on the bench. Jared Allen, backup center, great piece.
I think he should be starting.
You probably trade. Karis LeVert would probably be involved in that trade. A couple first-round draft.
Well, he has to be. Him and Dinwiddie had to be part of that deal.
See, that's a stretch. Both of them, you're taking both of them out of there. Then you're in a bad position if you're Brooklyn.
I mean, but Zach, and that's why the Sixers are in a great spot because you could take Tobias Harris and Al Horford and Shake Milton.
No one would take that salary. You would have to combine
I'm just saying. I'm
a cheap guy, either Josh Richardson or Shake Milton or Matisse
Thybulle. I'm just speaking hypothetically. If you're talking about who, like it was like the situation last year for the New York Knicks. Stephen A. said it best. If you're David Griffin, why would you want to trade Anthony Davis to the Knicks when they had like a Ntilikina and these guys? Or would you look at the Lakers who had like a Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram? It's the best of who has the best young talent. And Brooklyn has the best young talent, but they're hit or miss. And the Sixers also have great young talent. So it's between one of those two teams. That's why I don't see Milwaukee as a great spot.
If I was Brooklyn, I would have kept D'Angelo Russell and kept building that team. But you know what? Do it your own way. Maybe they'll win a ring after all. But the East is getting competitive. I don't want anyone to say the East is weak anymore because it sure as heck is competitive.
It's getting better.
Both conferences. I'd say top 5 seeds in both conferences can go to the NBA Finals.
Before the East was weak. Before the East was really weak.
I wouldn't say it was weak during the Paul Pierce Celtics team, Kevin Garnett.
That was when the East was at. It was
Carmelo Anthony with Carmelo Anthony with the New York Knicks. As much as I know you don't like to admit that they were good.
That was my favorite time to actually watch a New York Knicks basketball. I'm not a Knicks fan, ladies and gentlemen, but I remember one Sunday I cut the Knicks on. It was him and Tyson Chandler. They did the business. Him and Maurice Tyson and Josh and J.R. Smith. Now you turn on the TV, you see R.J. Barrett going left.
Don't talk bad on R.J. Barrett. You're a big Duke fan anyway. I figured you'd be nice to him.
I know. I am saying. I'm just saying. But it's hard. It's hard. But it's
that's what I hate when the team has no direction. And by the way, we are going to move on, finishing up with the NFL. How about the Miami Dolphins? I've been talking. I said they were going to win. I also said the Rams were going to win. We'll have to cover that. Well, we have a few minutes here extra we can do. But how about the Miami Dolphins? Miami Dolphins were tanking last year. They were a laughing stock the first 10 weeks of the season. They beat the Eagles. People turn heads. Of course they beat the Eagles. But they beat the Patriots week 17. And then they go out and get Tua. They have a good start this year. And now look at them with Tua playing. Tua's playing out of his mind. I said this before. I thought Tua was better before the draft than Joe Burrow. I thought Burrow had a higher floor, so he's better for a team right now to win. But Tua has the higher ceiling. And people are talking about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert still looks good, but Tua is going to make a run for Rookie of the Year. I will say that. As crazy as it sounds, I know it's the last 9-10 weeks of the season. But if Tua plays like this every week, there's no doubt in my mind they're going to the playoffs. The Dolphins will go to the playoffs. They might win a game. Miami has some hope. Miami's a great place. Miami and Tampa right now. Something about Florida. It's a great sports area right now, except for the Jaguars.
Unless you're the baseball team who got screwed over.
The Marlins went to the Rays. You're talking about the Rays. Yeah, the Rays. The Marlins went to the playoffs too. Miami's starting to turn heads. Maybe it might become a destination hotspot. Who knows? But I mean, no personal income tax on them. Maybe that's something to look at. But we're not going to get too into that sophistication. We'll talk about the sports logistics of it.
I will say this:
Brian Flores, he's being coach of the year as well. I'll make that bold take. A lot of props to Brian Flores. They took a chance on a defensive-minded coach from New England. Matt Patricia failed miserably. Bill O'Brien has obviously failed miserably. But This guy took a chance on him. Great young coach, phenomenal culture he's building. I said before the season, Gavin, on tape, on this show, I said, I like the direction Miami's going in, going to pay off. And if a team has to rebuild, do it the Miami way because they're doing it really, really, really well. They spent money in the offseason. They have Xavier Howard, phenomenal corner. Byron Jones, phenomenal corner. They went out and stole some Patriots players, some linebackers, some guys on the front. Godchild with their second-year players playing really well. They're building the O-line. They're paying guys. They brought in Jordan Howard and Matt Breida. They haven't done much, but Myles Gaskin and whoever else the kid was yesterday are looking pretty good. Devontae Parker looks really good. Jakeem Grant. I really like the direction this Miami Dolphins team is going.
Zach, didn't I come on the show and on recent tapes? And for those who want to know, I was high on Tua. Zach, I said they should start Tua week 1. There was a little pushback from you, but it wasn't big.
Well, I said I think for his health and for his ability to relax. They did it perfectly. This has been a beautiful thing going on in Miami. So much. I might buy a Tua shirt. I got to be honest with you. Or Brian Flores. I think they should make a shirt for him. Brian Flores is hands down my favorite coach in the league.
Brian Flores and Cliff Kingsbury, you gotta give it to them guys. They've
been doing a great job.
Speaking of Tua, Zach, yesterday's game showed something to me. Yesterday on Friday, we talked about Tua, kind of getting his way into the door of becoming a rookie of the year. He beat Justin Herbert yesterday. We know Justin Herbert.
He looked a lot better than Justin Herbert yesterday.
He looked a lot better than
and
Justin
less
Herbert.
to work with.
And even though Joe Burrow got steamrolled by the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were overrated, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to get into it today.
I don't know. That offense was really good yesterday.
I will say this. Justin Herbert might have just lowered his case, and I don't think Joe Burrow is anywhere near rookie of the year. I think it goes. It's
still Herbert. Herbert is still number 1, but you're saying for the future. You're speculating for the future.
I think in the future, who's going to have the better? It will be Tua. Tua's going to have the better career than both these guys.
I agree, and I think the direction of that franchise is the best so far. So I feel bad for the other two because their franchises aren't as much in that mentality. But the Bengals did spend some money in the offseason, and they're definitely looking better. But Gavin, finally here, we'll look through a few other games and see if there's anything else to point out. But the big one yesterday, Rams, Seahawks. I chose the Rams. You chose the Seahawks. DK Metcalf got shut down by Jalen Ramsey today. Russell Wilson, 2 interceptions. This is problematic. Gavin, let's get some of your first. Again, I said before, I said don't sleep on the Rams. They're not done. They thought that they were done when they went 9-7. Don't count on Sean McVay. The Rams are going to make the playoffs. They might win the NFC West again. But Gavin, I'll let you go for thoughts on that game.
Well, Zach, I always come on the show and say Russell Wilson doesn't have 2 bad back-to-back weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm coming on this show today and saying that Russell Wilson is no longer the league leader in MVP conversation. All right, he's not number 1.
In my opinion, last week he was number 2
Well, we said it was close last week. We said it was close between him and Aaron Rodgers. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers is not number 1 either. There's a man in Kansas City that is number 1 right now, and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, but will he get the votes, do you think? Because he's been under the rate. He's got 1 interception. It was a bye week this week for them. They're playing on Sunday Night Football against Vegas next week, almost at Oakland. But I think
that could make it break it right there because he did struggle versus them the first time.
And it's prime time. People are watching him. It's going to be prime time. I think that Mahomes is easily number 1 MVP conversation. Rodgers number 2. I mean, frankly, Russell Wilson. You wonder why he comes up short when it matters the most. And as much as I love Russell Wilson, great guy. You ever have an opportunity to listen to him mic'd up? He's always clapping and supporting his teammates. He's a great person.
Podcast is pretty good too, sir.
That's true as well. And he doesn't have a good defense, and his O-line's not great. And he goes all out early in the year. He gets run down. I don't blame him. But he's just not looking like himself right now. He's not looking like anywhere near an MVP. And that's why, if you wonder why some years he comes up short, that might be part of it.
So this is my new MVP list, Zach. I got Patrick Mahomes number 1. Just number 2. I got Kyler Murray number 3. Russ 4. And maybe Josh Allen 5. Josh Allen.
For the most part, I put Murray at 2 right now, though. I would put Kyler Murray above Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, that's right. Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good day yesterday. He didn't have a fantastic day. He didn't have like an eye-popping day, but maybe Kyler Murray can be 2. He had 2 great back-to-back weeks and a magical throw.
Possibly. So we're going to go through now. Let's go through the NFL scores. Let's get some thoughts on every game. Browns and Texans game, bad weather. That's why it was more relatively low scoring. That Texans team has become a mess real quick.
Yesterday, I felt bad for Deshaun Watson. He got hit a lot yesterday. Nick Chubb is back. Baker Mayfield's job is saved once again. He didn't look that great yesterday. Just did the basics, but
You only had 8 incompletions. But look at that. Look at that ground game. A total of 38 carries for 230 yards. That's the key to winning. Again, Gavin, good coach, not a great quarterback, still winning games.
fresh-minded coach too, Zach.
Don't look now, but they're 6-3. They're looking really good. And the Eagles can't stop the run. So Eagles are losing next week. I have that pretty confirmed. But next game,
Zach, listen, there's nothing scarier in the NFL than a new coach with a new system and a coach that's been in the league for a little while that can keep reinventing his system. Kevin Stefanski is going to be a problem for a long time to come.
no doubt, he made Kirk Cousins look good last year and got him his money, and Mayfield might get money too from this. But next game here, Detroit Lions and Washington football team. Props to Alex Smith, 390 passing yards. But my Detroit Lions prevail. I'm so excited for that. They're getting closer to being 500.
Well, they almost gave it up at the end, Zach. They really did, but Matt Prater
Saved them.
Still getting the job done.
All right, Buccaneers, Panthers. Big win for the Buccaneers. Does this mean anything, Gavin, or you're still worried because they can't beat the good teams?
Well, Drew Brees is out for a little while, but Zach, look, when I look at Tom Brady and I look at the Buccaneers, I'm not sold on them yet, offensively.
Because they did beat the Packers.
They did beat the Packers,
They do have
but
a win this year. They lost to the Bears and they lost to the Saints twice.
Exactly. So, and you beat up on Teddy Bridgewater. Congratulations. That's nothing to be happy about. And Chris, but Zach, they got a lot of weapons on this team, and the fact that they're not beating the good teams, they didn't beat the Saints last week. I'm not sold on them just yet. I got to see a little bit more.
All right, and coming up next, the Jaguars and Packers. That game was too close. And I kind of hope the Packers lost yesterday so the Lions could pick up some ground. But Gavin, some thoughts on that game. I think personally, the run game was a struggle for the Packers, and therefore Rodgers was not as efficient. If they don't have the run game rolling, they're not going to be able to go to the Super Bowl.
Scanlon. He bailed out Aaron Rodgers yesterday through the air. Devontae Adams did not look that great. He did his job like he always does. But the run game was a struggle, and the Jacksonville Jaguars special team, right? Their special team and their defense looked good yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that's defense has not been so strong, but they're looking good now. Now, let's get to another game that was a pretty exciting ending. The Arizona Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills. Wow. Triple teamed. D-Hop goes up and gets it. Good throw from Kyler. Way to put him in a good position. That's a huge, huge win for Arizona over Buffalo.
Zach, I came on the show today and I told you off the show, or I texted you yesterday, and I said I wanted to fight Howie Roseman. Why? Both these wide receivers, they got moved. Stephon Diggs, right? And DeAndre Hopkins got moved. Kyler Murray and Josh Allen both got new wide receivers. And look at them. They're winning games.
They're both MVP candidates.
Exactly. Both of them came up big yesterday. And guess what? And you didn't get neither one. And they moved on the same day. So, ladies and gentlemen, going back to the last night, that was an amazing throw by Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray did some magical things. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know what's better, the throw or the catch.
They're both phenomenal. Triple team. Look at Calvin Johnson play.
Calvin Johnson, man, best wide receiver. Best.
It's a shame Detroit wasted his career. The next game here we kind of covered earlier, but just a quick recap. Dolphins, Chargers. Dolphins are for real, Gavin. Anything else you wanted to add that you didn't get in earlier?
Tua time. That's all I got to say. It's Tua time.
All right, Broncos and Raiders. I'll concede Drew Lock is not the answer in Denver. Anything else?
I told you Josh Jacobs in the run game. Both Josh Jacobs and Devontae Booker. 2 touchdowns each.
It was a great win for them. Rams, Seahawks. Again, don't count out the Rams. They are a very good football team, especially when they have the run game going.
I gotta see more from Jared Goff. I'm still not too sold.
Bengals, Steelers. Bengals aren't a great defense, but the Steelers looked really good yesterday, Gavin. They could go 16-0 if they just beat the Ravens again.
Overrated team, Zach. That's what it is. They're getting lucky. That's what the Steelers are. There's
lucky. 36 points.
Well, Zach,
for Big Ben.
Zach, you're beating up on a horrible defense.
You beat the Ravens.
But you almost lost by 7 points.
But they're the best football team in the league on paper.
I disagree. There's look, average Ben, AB, is going to be coming out pretty soon. You saw him versus the Cowboys, and you saw it versus Baltimore.
All right, we'll have to see. And then the Saints and 49ers, not much surprising here. Drew Brees getting hurt. Jameis Winston coming in for a little bit. Didn't throw an interception, so props to Jameis. Might be playing for a little while there and getting his opportunities. He possibly could be the future there. But, I mean, Taysom Hill just got paid $21 million, and you're not going to have him be your quarterback. That's a interesting decision by the front office to hold on to him.
Like Taysom Hill is a special piece to New Orleans. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not gonna come on and say something outlandish about Drew Brees. So I'm gonna keep my comments to myself. But Zach, you know how I feel about Drew Brees. Jameis Winston did look good yesterday. I know he didn't throw that many times, and they kept subbing him in and out, but he looked good. Didn't have a turnover.
Yeah, and the Ravens-Patriots game, we kind of covered this earlier. Don't count on Bill Belichick. The Patriots can be for real if Cam Newton can just be consistent. And that run game can look really good. They have a Bama running back there. Looks really good. Tends to be a trend out of Alabama. The arguably competing with Georgia to be RBU. Gavin, anything else you want to touch on from that?
I think Georgia's always going to be the best running back school. Look at Todd Gurley. Look at Nick Chubb. I used to be able to say Sony Michel, not anymore. Look at DeAndre Swift, by the way, Zach.
DeAndre Swift looks great.
I mean, even though Alabama, they have Najee, they have Derrick Henry, they have Mark Ingram. It's a tough competition, but I still got to give it to Georgia.
Josh Jacobs as well in Bama.
Josh Jacobs, yeah. It's close. Penn State was getting there, but
they were close, but unfortunately, I mean, we know Jeremy Brown will not be able to continue his career into the NFL, unfortunately. But they've had some good running backs: Miles Sanders, Saquon Barkley, Noah Cain could be someone up and coming if he's able to get healthy.
It just thinks that the two good running backs that came up Penn State, Miles Sanders doesn't get the ball enough, and Saquon Barkley is running behind the Giants' offensive line, so it's kind of hard to even.
You know what? They're running. Imagine if Saquon played yesterday, it'd be a disaster. Finally, here the Vikings and the Bears. Kevin, I'll let you go first. Predictions for Monday Night Football.
The Bears is a great run defense. It's a great defense versus a great running attack. Dalvin Cook is the reason why the Vikings are back in some contention. In fact, remember, you was against the Dalvin Cook holdout, and I wasn't earlier in the year. He knew why. He's putting his money where his mouth is. I said that right. But, Zach, look, tonight there's not going to be much on Dalvin Cook, and I said that last week too, but I think tonight's the night where Dalvin Cook doesn't get 100 yards rushing. I think he gets held to 78. Not bad. But I got the Bears winning tonight. Their defense is too good, and it all depends on how their offense is playing. We don't know all. They don't have a run game. Matt Nagy is a horrible offensive coach. So we got to go from there.
Yeah, David Montgomery's hurt, which means it's going to be all on Nick Foles. I don't have confidence he can get it done. I disagree, though. I think that the Bears' defense against the run has been soft last year. It's been soft this year, even with the return of Akeem Hicks. I think Dalvin Cook, all the contrary to you, Gavin, I do think Dalvin Cook's going to have a good night, and I think that Kirk Cousins is accurate. The game is in Chicago, so it's going to be an outdoor cold environment and windy, but I don't know. Perhaps if it's too windy where throwing the ball is not going to be so good and it comes down to the run game, which running backs do you trust? Do you trust Alexander Madison and Dalvin Cook or Ryan Hall and Cordell Patterson?
Well, Madison and Cook, obviously, arguably one of the best 1-2 back duos. I know we talk about that a lot, but I think Cleveland has that title right now. But Zach, I'm going to give it to them. You're right. The Bears defense versus the run is a little bit soft, but don't count them out. They can turn it on and turn it off whenever they want to be. It's that bend but don't break mentality. That's what they have.
For sure. We'll have to see how it plays out. We'll have predictions. We'll have recap of that tomorrow. Finally here, Gavin, just a last thing here. Thoughts on the trade between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Oklahoma City Thunder?
It's a good trade. You just Rajon Rondo's on his way out. I think Rondo, that's a good choice. Dennis Schroeder is a spot shooter. He actually, at one point, ladies and gentlemen, he actually was a leading scorer for the Hawks before they got Trae Young there. That's what many people did not know. I'm fond of Dennis Schroeder. I like Dennis Schroeder. I actually took him here, bring him off the bench a little bit.
And I got rid of Danny Green for them.
Yeah, well, now Danny Green's going to be missing wide open shots for Chris Paul and them. But, Zach, real quick, does Chris Paul move? Yes or no? Is he on the move?
I think so.
And where would you like to see him go? I said Phoenix.
Doesn't Phoenix have Rubio, though? Or no, did they trade Rubio? He's only
Rubio's still there.
Yeah, so they're not going to get him.
That would be good. That'd be a good spot.
Milwaukee would be a good fit for him. Miami would be a good fit for him. I don't want to see him in Philly, but I've heard some rumors that he could be coming to Philly. He's got to go to a team. He doesn't have to be the leading scorer. Honestly, if you didn't have Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn and you had James Harden and Kevin Durant, Chris Paul would be perfect.
That would have been there. That would have been fine.
That would be very much a good fit for them if Kyrie wasn't there. But I don't know. I can see him working in Milwaukee if they can get a shooting guard. Obviously,
Clippers, maybe
Chris Paul together, but
you can put him in. You can put him back in LA. Clippers, maybe.
I saw that possible going to the Clippers.
I thought the Lakers.
Or the Knicks, of course, the team that I point out.
You said the Knicks.
Well, that's just what you asked for. One of the rumors, and that's one of the ones I read.
Yeah, but if anyone gets traded to the Knicks, I feel bad for them. No one wants to go there. I mean, it's like let me rephrase. He can lead a team though. He could. They do need a veteran presence. They need a ring, so that could work. They're not gonna win that.
Chris Paul deserves a ring at some point.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. We do have updates coming throughout the week as we figure out different situations with the NBA. A lot of interesting dates. Free agency starts in 14 minutes. Wednesday's the draft. We're going to have our good friend Dom on, most likely, to get a recap, look at the possible prospects for the Sixers and some other top picks. Also, will the Warriors pick be on the move? That could be a possibility as well as they look to win now.
You got it.
Competitive again in the Western Conference this year.
Zach, James Wiseman would be this. They never really had a true center, and when they did, DeMarcus Cousins wasn't 100%
They had Cousins, Bogut before that, but they have shooters.
You have to go Wiseman. You have to go Wiseman, or you have to go Anthony Edwards. Either one of those two.
And my philosophy: draft the best player available. Don't draft positions in the NBA.
Well, maybe you should tell Howie Roseman that he can get an idea.
Well, that's football. That's a little different. In that case, they drafted a probably quarterback the past few years, which they did draft a quarterback in the second round, but we're not going to get into that.
Got nothing to say on that one. I'm gonna keep my comment.
We're not going to. For those who are showing up late, go back earlier in the episode. It's a lot of entertainment we've covered. But other than that, Gavin, again, congratulations to Dustin Johnson on his victory in the Masters. They'll be back in 5 months. It's going to feel like yesterday when we get there. So, with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. We hope you enjoyed it. Fortunately, we did not lose our voices, Gavin. Anything else you want to chime in on?
Yeah, Walmart, I swear, the next time you guys play with me again about a PS5 being and it's not there, we're going to have some problems. And Sony, Zach, for those who don't know, I was in my history class, and as I was listening to my history teacher talk, I was actually sitting in line for the PlayStation Store online, right? I sat in the line for virtual line. Did you know you could do that? I sat in a virtual line for 20 to 25 minutes just to go there. When I finally got in there, it took them like 10 minutes to put me in there. By the time I got in there, the PlayStation 5 was sold out. So PlayStation and Walmart, you're on my bad list. But Black Friday is going to be all right, Zach. And I might have to get myself a Kyler Murray shirt. I have to.
Yeah, I'm probably getting a Tua shirt. Or I don't know. I'll probably get a Tua shirt.
Maybe we should get a shirt that says fire Doug Peterson.
I would. I'm not going to waste the money on it yet, but I would buy one of those retro jerseys the Dolphins have with the white with like the blue over, like the aqua blue overtone. Those are the ones they wore yesterday.
I like those. Hey, what do you think about? I know this is all topic, but the best jersey I've seen this year, it has to go to the Atlanta Falcons with the red and the black.
The ATL at the top. I like Cleveland too.
Cleveland had a nice one.
I just asked you, what in your opinion, what is the nicest jersey of all major sports?
Of all major sports.
What I'm thinking. I have one in line that I think is the nicest jersey.
Go ahead. You go first. Go ahead.
No, I'll let you go first. See if you can guess it.
Now, do I have to pick like all sports, or like do I have to go individually?
Between the NHL, no, all four. I mean, it's not hockey. Although there are some new jerseys that just came out today, but no, between the NBA, the MLB, and the NFL, I'm thinking of one specific jersey from one jersey that's really, really pops out and really is like a big part.
I feel like we're gonna say something totally different on this one. It's sure so not the Sixers, even though it's starting to grow on me. It's starting to grow on me. I do like the Magic's orange. The orange they got.
I saw that. That's nice. The Mavericks cartoon ones I've always liked, but no, those aren't the ones I'm thinking of. The ones I'm thinking of have been there for a little while now.
I can't.
The Miami Vice.
Oh well, that's yeah, of course. But
the court design and everything, those are just and the
Grizzlies.
The Heat have them, and then of course the Marlins have them as well. Similar color scheme, which is really nice. Although the Marlins, of course, being in our division, I do like respect some of their jerseys. Am I the one that hates the Heat jerseys? I hate the red. they're iconic because LeBron James and all them won them. But I mean, just looking at the Vice jerseys, they were a lot more creative and fun. Those are just bland.
I like the white
bland
hot he used to wear in the playoffs. When LeBron was there, the white hot, it was all white.
That's right. Those ones were nice too.
Nice.
I hate the Eagles all white jerseys, probably because they always losing them, but I hate the Eagles all white.
I like the black. I like when they wear black because good things happen when they wear black. And the retro jerseys. But Zach, the Grizzlies jerseys,
You want to say Vancouver on them?
yeah,
Those ones are nice. And the six, obviously, the most iconic for Philadelphia, the Sixers blacks from 2001.
2001. You can't. And the old Magic jerseys, with the blue and
With the stripes on them.
Yeah, with the stripes on it. Yeah.
I just think of Shaq. Whenever I hear that, I just think of Shaq. You think of dominant prime Shaq.
I think of T-Mac.
Do you really?
I think of T-Mac. Yeah.
The Raptors ones too. The Vince Carter Raptors.
Those are nice. Those
are very, very retro feel.
And the trash jerseys, ladies and gentlemen, for those who want to know,
is it going to be the Knicks?
The Knicks. I wasn't gonna say nothing about the Knicks. I wasn't gonna say. Hey, but the Brooklyn City Edition last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was.
BKLN one or the Sun something.
BKLN one. I like those.
I don't like the court though. The ugly.
No, the court now.
Of course, it looked weird with the Sixers. They wore the Christmas red. The Christmas red the Sixers wore on that court. It just looked horrible. It's too bright.
By the way, the Christmas jerseys. What happened to them? They were nice. NBA used to.
They're still wearing them, right? Aren't the Sixers still wearing? The older Christmas, the older ones.
The older Christmas when they were
There's two games I think of. For Christmas. Can you guess at least one of them?
It's probably Cleveland and Golden State.
Yep. And then what's the second one?
Is it recent or is it old?
It's a little older. We would remember it.
Lakers and Heat?
Yep. Lakers and Heat with Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James.
That was a good one.
And then of course the iconic Warriors Cavaliers game. Kevin Durant's intro because it takes three superstars to beat LeBron James.
Okay, and LeBron James needs the whole world to win 1, 2.
Just needed Anthony Davis. Even you say we both agree before the playoffs that there's not enough talent.
Oh yeah, everybody. That's the modern NBA. Everyone has to have a 2, and if you don't have a 2, then you can't win.
They did it back in the day too. Jordan and Pippen. Unfortunately, Malone and Stockton never won, but they were always competitive.
But ones and twos has always been a thing, Zach. That's always. It's nothing new to that.
For sure. So with that being said, buddy, thank you so much for listening in our Jersey Talk. We'll start a podcast called Jersey Talk because we can talk about that for a while.
Talk about jerseys all day long.
Well, with that being said, buddy, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, and the Mamba Blacks, those are good ones too. I like those this year. And like
the snake skins on them.
Yes.
Those were nice. All right, thank you everybody for joining us. Let us know in the comments what jerseys do you like, and what jerseys should we buy ourselves if we do get them. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a secret Santa this year, and that might be a little exciting. Although it's not much secret if it's just the two of us. I'll buy you a LeBron James Mamba Black since you brought it up.
Listen. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I got some news for tomorrow's show, so just wait for that. Zach, you're gonna like that.
Oh, it's gonna be exciting. Thank you everybody again. Have a great day. 6 minutes till free agency. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.